Oh, there you are, my friend. Hey, there you are. You happy comrade. Well, you are who you are, right? You are defined, you are sharpened by experience, you are refined by experience. Hey, it's me, man, JKKC, sitting around. I took a sip of a drink right now, and I've underestimated the spiciness of it. If you see any looks or any tears coming down, have some sympathy. I'm recovering from that shot. It's more than, I didn't drink tequila. Trust me, I did. It was lemon. I think it's a spicy honey and more honey. And my Lord, I'm having this flash of what happened in that drink. What about that, huh? How do you begin a conversation with my audience? By telling them my throat is on fire right now. Fire. Oh, Kimito. God help us. What goes down must stay down. Listen, right away, I'm climbing a ladder. Right away. If you haven't noticed, I'm sitting, but I'm climbing a ladder. I call it the ladder of humility. Think about it. Stay with me. I know the last time some of you climbed the ladder, maybe the landing wasn't great, but be humble. Let's climb with me this ladder, the ladder of humility. Because I've gone through this experience of YouTube since episode 1. And I talked about a few weeks ago of what I've accomplished as a person. And I was going to share this with you as one of my accomplishments or what I've seen as a growth. And it is summed up in this ladder of humility that I've experienced, because I've talked about greatness, I've talked about athletes, I've talked about different personality. Some of them I've never met, some of them I have, some of them are not here with us. But I've found a comrade, a kindred spirit, a human connection with these people, these athletes, with you, my subscriber, my liker, my viewer. I've found a connection. With that, I've noticed, I've developed a keen sense of humility. I've talked about this a couple of times. And so in this ladder of humility, I've realized that I don't know much. And so when I talk about what I know, me sitting here on this episode number 94, I realize I still know little. And so in this humility, in this knowing, and this humility that comes with it, is the fact that what I know compared with what my subscribers know, compared to what that athlete I'm talking about knows, compared to what the family knows. You see the ladder I'm establishing. Compare with what maybe the society, the village they grew up in. So the ladder of humility comes to the sense that you climb that ladder with the sense of, I'm a small, minuscule person in comparison to what the universe might know about either a subject, about sports, about gender bias, about discrimination, about performance. What do I see and what others see? So yeah, that is my ladder of humility, whereby I'm climbing it with a sense that what I know is still could be in the first step of the ladder. Well, that is my intro, and that's how I do things. Because I'm introducing to you the athletes of the year for me. I think it's about time I've talked about them, but I'm not done. Because Beatrice Chebet, as much as the West did not give her the flowers and vote her the athlete of the year, she still is in my books, because I have a channel. It's a YouTube Tuko Riada, right? So I can still promote what I want to promote, because this is the only athlete to me that as I sit here, was underprojected, underappreciated, because I was looking into her background, and there's something I've appreciated in this humility, this ladder of humility, the ladder of learning something, is that I still don't know these athletes, but I still can mention them and humanize them and dignify them and edify them and amplify them and their voices. They might not speak much, but when they speak, I listen. I've talked about this. In fact, have you noticed one thing? I'm very feminist in this channel. I seem to promote women more. You know why? They talk. Men don't say much. These species doesn't talk much. We just walk around. And when we share something, it's something, yes, we'll take it in. Talking of somebody who shares something, I read of Eliud Kipchoge is visiting China. He says he's been there 5 times promoting, of course, Nike and Chinese connection. And there's one thing it resonates with me as Eliud Kipchoge spoke is that even as people talk of his decline as the greatest marathon ever to run this in this universe, what I find fascinating about some of these quotes from Eliud Kipchoge, to me, they're quite profound. He talks about running being a way of life. That's my man. So I'll mention Eliud Kipchoge just to tell you that I'm not as feminine. I can be as masculine as I want to at the same time. Anyway, going back to Beatrice Chebet, I found interesting that she was inspired by her grandmother. It's very rare. It's very rare that she used to live with her grandmother in those sides of Londiani, Kericho area, where she used to stay with her grandmother, and her mother one time saw her running, and for some reason, the mother urged her or nudged her and said, "Hey, Beatrice Chebet, why don't you work with this local coach here and find your way in life?" And before you know it, Beatrice Chebet went into an institution that was athletic. She joined the police. And we are talking of Beatrice Chebet, the gold medalist in 10,000 meters, coming out of 2024. To hear that there's a matriarch inspiration in her life, oh man, that just made my day. I think it's some of these background things that I share that even makes me more humble when I talk about Beatrice. Because yes, you didn't give her flowers, you Western voters. I know those protests in this southern sphere of voting bloc. But yes, Beatrice Chebet was inspired by her grandmother. What a moment to hear. I want to just hear the conversation with the grandmother and her, her daughter, so to speak, or her grandkid, and what she told her. What she told her pushed her to where she is. And by the way, let me just put this for those who understand history. When I started this Tukoriada in episode 1, my starting point was 1988. I call it the golden era of Kenyan Olympiads, where we kind of just came to the eyes of the universe and says, "Hey, Kenyans, we are here. We banked tons of gold." It was during that Olympics too that the 10,000 meters for women was introduced. Before that, they didn't have 10,000 meters for women because they thought women could not do it. I have no idea how that works out. That was the year that they introduced 10,000 for women, the 25 lap on the track. If Kenyans didn't know this, I'll retell them this. Beatrice Chebet was the first gold medalist, gold medal winner in 10,000 meters since it was introduced. Put that in your record, Kenyans. She's the first woman. Ethiopians have done it. We know that for a fact. In fact, the closest we came to medal, we came close to gold was Vivian Cheriot, which I mistakenly mentioned last time as being a gold medalist in 10,000. I take it back. I was wrong. That's why some of us study the subject. We want to make sure we get our facts right because TikTok is overtaking us with information. Trust me, I'm competing with TikTok even right now. So, having talked of being inspired by a grandmother and being the first woman to bring gold to Kenya in 10,000 meters, and I don't know why this was not put in place when we were looking at our accomplishment in 2024. Because if we truly appreciate people and their accomplishment, we have to look back. Well, We didn't look very much back with the winner. I mean, listen, I'm still grumbling with this. I'm still whining and banging the doors of why Beatrice Chebet did not win the Women of Track Athlete of the Year. Well, LeBron did, McClellan did, whatever her name did. Of course, sprinting is more glamorous. And we are biased as track and field family is. Anyway, I'm plugging in a case, and of course, you see, I make a case for Beatrice, even a chance I get. Why not? Because she's still, to me, the 2024 track and field athlete, women athlete of the year. Given what I just said, I did. Inspired by a grandmother, the first Kenyan woman to win 10,000 meters in Olympics since it was inaugurated in 1988. Why not? Why can't Beatrice Chebet get it? Well, if I was a lawyer, I'll rest my case and says, I rest my case, Your Honor. And I did. Well done, Beatrice Chebet. I made a case for you. Will it move the needle to you winning next year? Yes, it will. Because right in this platform, I'll be advocating for her to be the 2025, what I call pre-season runaway woman athlete of the year next year. I hope she does. I hope she gets all the trophy. Before I wrap up the show, there's another woman that you guys need to know something about, Sifan Hassan, the Arama former Ethiopian woman. Let me tell you something. Sifan Hassan talks about having got, in the Paris Olympics, if I've told you this, maybe I just wrap up the year by telling this to me, they are the women of the year. Whether they ran track or not, but they are the greatest in my books. So Sifan Hassan talks about, she was interviewed and she talks about the restlessness she had after winning bronze medals in 5,000 and 10,000 in Paris. And after winning the 10,000, she had, I think, 48 hours or maybe, or less than that. I don't remember the time between 10,000 and marathon. And she says that given the fact that she ran 10,000, she had to go what they call drag test. She had to do the ceremony for winning bronze. So there's no rest. And she had this marathon coming up the next day, I think. She only slept for 2 hours. She couldn't sleep. I like when I hear these things because even as herself going into marathon, she had a lot of doubts. Tons of doubts, she says. She says she was just going to represent and make the country that has adopted her proud because she had the flag, she was representing the country. She goes on to say that once the race started, she started having what she calls monologues, where she says, if we watch her carefully, she's talking to herself. Listen, you don't know how I fancy these athletes, how they navigate marathon. Marathon is not just participating. For the elites, it's winning. She talks about when it came to the hill, which I remember when they were climbing one of the worst hills in marathon. In fact, I mentioned it during one of my episodes. I was asking, why did Paris put this hill? It wasn't a hill. It was climbing the roof. It wasn't even, it's like being close to Mount Everest, where I understand is they call it the cemetery, where people who pass that threshold, they either make it or there's a graveyard there. She says when she saw the hill, she decided she was going to walk it. And I remember she did. She said she was going to walk the hill because she's been training for that hill. I don't know how this woman does it. She says that when she saw the athletes running it, she says, they're not even running as fast as I'm walking. She's having these monologues with herself. And she says, and then she concludes by saying, downhill, I'm going to catch them all. And she did. If you remember, if you go back and watch this woman, she destroyed the competition going downhill. I like what she finally says. She says this, Hassan, I'm just paraphrasing, that she's always wondered why drama just follows her around. Why she's a drama queen in track and field. I don't think she's a drama queen. She's a badass competitor. I'm just saying it. She is a badass competitor. And you know why? because she wants to win. And because of that, and listening to what our interview revelations come to me, I'm saying this, I'm humbled to know that Sifan Hassan was the Women Athlete of the Year outside track just because of what I just said. She's a tough cookie. And let me tell you something. I've watched this woman for a long time, and she is a badass woman. Sifan Hassan, he's going to have no sleep. Go into a race and destroy and elbow the competition out of the way. Sigit from Ethiopia coming into the last turn for the 200. Hassan must have just gone back into a oasis of energy and just says, I'm getting this one, my Ethiopian, former Ethiopian countrymate, and she did it in style. You might not like it. There was one thing you remember. At the end of that race, she was wailing. Reminds me of Faith Kipyegon. There's something that comes from winning that is so deep that you are like, oh, I did it! I did it too. Episode 94. I don't know. I think my throat has recovered. I don't know about the drink I had when I started this episode. Again, it's Happy Shabbat. Salam alaikum to my Muslim friends. And I hope the week is great. We are expecting great visitors to come stay. They're staying here with us from Ellie's side of the family. I'm looking forward to that. You guys enjoy the season. Whatever you're doing, I'm grateful that you are doing it in style, because this year has shown us that there's a lot of things to celebrate. From Beatrice Chebet, who was inspired by her grandmother, to Sifan Hassan, whose inspiration is deeper and quite revealing of how strong this woman is. I enjoy talking about these women. I hope I gave them the love, the applause, the cheers, the kudos, and all that they deserve, because they're great. They've made me really climb that ladder of humility slowly by slowly. I don't expect myself to get to the top of the ladder, because the top of the ladder is when you realize you still don't know much. That's humility, my friend. It was nice. See you on the other side of the pillow. Take a rest. Take a break. These machines are interesting sometimes.